Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I'll be going over the best MUDs bundles in Star Trek Online as of August 2025. As always, chapters to each section are listed below. Before I get too far into things, let's go over some of the basics of MUDs bundles. The majority of MUDs bundles are only available in the store during old MUDs bundle sales, which will often be up for a weekend or a few days. During these sales, all MUDs bundles are available at a 50% discount. These sales used to occur every 2 to 3 months, but with the transition to a new dev team, we have seen this drop down to just 1 to 2 of these sales per year, meaning you need to be paying attention to the game news to make sure you don't miss out on the sale, and you should really have your Zen prepared ahead of time. Each of these MUDs bundles is composed of 7 to 8 selection options. 3 to 4 of these will be ships, which will be infinitely reclaimable account-wide via the Ships tab of the MUDs market if you select them, and the remaining will be consumables that are one-time claims that will be bound to your account. Each of the MUDs bundles will have a Pick 3 choice pack that costs 14,750 Zen during the 50% discount, and a Mega bundle that costs 25,000 Zen for the bundles with 7 selections, or 29,500 Zen for the bundles with 8 selections. As the name implies, the cheaper choice packs let you select 3 of the things you want from the bundle, and the Mega nets you everything in there. And lastly, any bundles containing ships from other factions should freely include the cross-faction flying unlock if you do not already have that on your account. That unlock enables you to fly any ship on any faction. For instance, all of the Federation ships that I cover are done on my main, which is a KDF-aligned Romulan. If, for whatever reason, you do not get this unlock and you need it to fly your ship, it normally costs 2,000 Zen, but you can unlock it for free by leveling a Klingon faction character up to 65 on your account. Now shifting over to the recommendations, my focus here is on bundles that offer significant value for most players. With these bundles costing well over $100, they need to provide significant value. So out of the 20 plus MUDs bundles we now have, with how the game has changed over the past few years and us getting some very strong ships in the Zen store, there are only 3 MUDs bundles left that I feel have retained enough value to make it into this video. The first being the Kelvin themed Into Darkness and Beyond bundle. This bundle contains 4 ship selection options, with 2 of those being packs that have multiple ships within them. The first ship selection option in this bundle is for the Vengeance Intel Dreadnought Cruiser, which traditionally is available via the Lobby store, and as such is one of the cheapest ships on the player exchange, coming in at $15 to $20 worth of energy credits. While this is a rather old ship, having released all the way back in 2016, thanks to its strong bridge officer setup featuring an Intel and Temporal Specialization combo, along with a 5-3 weapons layout and a hangar bay, this ship has aged very well and remains a very strong platform for energy weapons. Sadly, the same cannot be said for the accessories. The Starship trait caps out at 30% Cat 1, making it weaker than a single TAC console. As for the broadside console on this, sadly it falls well short of the performance seen by modern broadside consoles, and while the pets can be fun for theme setups, they are only usable on this ship, and in the current meta, you're better off running a bay of Type 7s instead. The second ship selection option here is where things get quite interesting. This second option has the Kelvin Timeline Starships pack, which contains 3 ships that each have unique layouts, accessories, and interiors. These 3 ships are the Kelvin Constitution Heavy Command Cruiser, the Klingon D4X Pilot Bird of Prey, and the Romulan Talaru Intel Carrier Warbird. And yes, as I explained earlier in the video, you will actually get all of those ships by selecting this option from the bundle. Same goes for the other Kelvin ship pack, which I'll talk about in a minute. So you would just claim this 3 times on each character you want all the ships on after purchasing the pack. And as you can see here, on an account where I have the cross-faction flying unlock, I can just go in and then open up all the ships on a character. While these 3 ships are also a bit older, they all come with a secondary Lieutenant Temporal seat, which helps them retain some relevance. Starting with the Kelvin Konnie, this is an okay tank platform if you're wanting to do a theme setup on it, but from a meta perspective, the lack of hangar bays does prevent it from being as strong as newer platforms like the Friendship, Rampart, or Styx. The trait isn't that special, but the console has been a popular pick for exotic builds due to its exotic boosting passives and the speed buff that the clicky provides. Though it is worth noting that the legendary variant of this ship that is in the 10th anniversary bundle does also include these accessories. As for the D4X, as with other pilot ships, it is more of a fun ship rather than performance. It has some neat, unique visuals that occur during the pilot maneuvers. The trait isn't that special on it with the current trait meta, and the console really does not offer that much, and because this released prior to experimental weapons being added to the game, there is no unique experimental weapon with this ship. As for the Talaru, this ship is actually really quite good. Some of you saw me use it back in 2024 to solo some endgame elite content, such as the Battle of Corfez. Intel and Temporal is a very strong combination with the current console spam meta, and this ship is able to do that very well. I have since moved on to the Arc Rail, but this remains a great option, and it is one of the few ships currently in the game that are able to use the extremely powerful Romulan drone ship hangar pets. As for the accessories, the trait was once a popular budget option back when it was available cheaply in cross-faction trait boxes. It's still fine, but there is much more competition there nowadays. The console is interesting against larger bosses, and the pets that come with this ship are Kelvin-themed Scorpion fighters that only this ship can use. I don't really see much value to those pets, given you can use those 2 hangar bays to slot Type 7s, or the Romulan drone ships. And for the 3 consoles shown here, along with the console off the Vengeance, they do form a set. Nothing that crazy, but for those of you doing a theme setup, you may find some value there. The third selection is for the Kelvin Heavy Destroyer Ship Pack, which contains the Kelvin Einstein and D7 Heavy Destroyers. While the first 2 ship selection options I talked about launched back in 2016, these heavy destroyers were introduced 3 years later, in 2019. Yet for some reason, they don't have a full specialization seat. Aside from that, the stats between the Einstein and D7 are almost identical, with the sole difference being that the D7, being a Klingon ship, does get a battle cloak. The ships feature a Lieutenant Commander command and pilot combo, and then a Universal Commander, but really there's nothing that special here that impressive by modern standards. Same goes for the accessories, where you will find that the trait, console, and experiment weapon have little to offer in the 2025 version of the game. And the final ship selection option from the Kelvin Into Darkness and Beyond bundle is the Vulcan Experimental Scout Ship, released in December of 2019 as a promotional ship. It's a pilot science ship with a secondary Lieutenant Merc Worker, and all but the commander is universal. It has Raider flanking, a 4-2 weapons loadout, and your standard array of science stuff like a secondary deflector. So being a pilot science ship, it is most certainly more about the fun rather than performance, and I do want to note that this is a ship that does have an innate spinning mechanic, so it's not as bad as the Gorn Hunter or the Courier Pilot Raider, but it is something to be aware of. Now for the accessories, this does come with a red matter capacitor device, which isn't as popular as it once was. You've then got a unique variant of the Kelvin torpedoes here with the quad microphotons. These don't do much damage, but you can fire them very fast. And they have no equip limit, so by getting this ship, you're essentially getting infinite Kelvin torpedoes account-wide. The trait from this is a bit niche, but that resistance against foes within 3 kilometers and placates to those that critically hit you within that 3 kilometer range could be interesting to some of you doing some off-meta tank stuff. And the console is not one that I recall seeing much use, but for some builds out there, it looks like it'd be fun. And of course there are consumable options here as well, though this is a very ship-dense bundle, and I really recommend against you going for any of the consumables given the amount of ship options we have here. My recommendations here are to maximize the value that you're getting from this. That means the first pick for me is the Kelvin Starships pack that has the 3 ships in it, the Kelvin Konnie, D4X, and Talaru. Those are all lockbox ships, and the stats are not that bad. After that is the Vulcan Scout Ship, which is a promotional tier ship that does have some interesting gear. And for the last pick, it's up to you if you want to go for the Heavy Destroyers or the Vengeance. The Heavy Destroyers are lockbox ships, so I personally went for those as my third pick when I got the pack. Even though the ships aren't the best, I personally couldn't justify the Vengeance given that I already have it on multiple characters and can easily get it on others given it is one of the cheapest tier 6 ships on the market. My thought process was that in the unlikely event that I would want or need either of those heavy destroyers in the future, if I had to go through the exchange or trade channels, it'd cost me upwards of $1.5 billion to get a single copy of that ship. Whereas the Vengeance is so much cheaper being a lobby ship that during a lobby sale, I could get almost 8 of them for that same amount of EC. It's just a hell of a lot easier to get a lobby ship than it is to get a lockbox ship. For the remaining 2 bundles, I have detailed breakdown videos for both of them that I will have linked in the pinned comment down below if you want to see full comprehensive coverage. But the next bundle here is Disco Inferno, which contains the Discovery, Constitution, and D7 Merc Worker flight deck carriers, along with the Bowel Sentry ship and the Jovian Intel Heavy Raider. This is a very popular bundle as it is one of the routes to unlock the Discovery Constitution account-wide, the other being via the temporal version in the 10th anniversary bundle. It also happens to have the D7 Merc Worker, which has the very popular Rune of Our Enemy's Starship trait, which grants a damage buff upon you landing the kill shot to defeat a foe. Each stack of this trait is 3% Cat 2 all damage for 20 seconds, with each new stack refreshing the duration of all stacks. This goes up to 100 stacks, resulting in up to a 300% Cat 2 damage buff. In addition, every 5th defeat with a straight slotted will result in a 15% bridge officer ability cooldown reduction for 5 seconds. On builds where you are the one landing the kill shot on enemies, this is one of the most powerful traits in the game. Getting it unlocked account-wide is a pretty big deal to many folks. If you're buying this bundle, you're buying it for the Discovery Flight Deck Carrier ship pack. So after that, my recommendation is to also grab the Ball Sentry, as a lot of people enjoy the console that thing has. And for the third pick, that's up to you. My initial breakdown video had the recommendation to go for all 3 ships, and that is personally what I did with this sale. But the Jovian really doesn't offer much for most of you, and we now know that the initial blog post that I was going over in that video was slightly wrong. The Epic Phoenix token consumable is actually 2 epics, not 1. So if you want to grab the 2 epic tokens or another consumable instead of the Jovian Raider, that's a perfectly valid option. And then we have the Dread Through the Ages bundle. This is an extremely high value bundle to go for, as you're able to get multiple multi-ship packs just like the Kelvin, one for the Enterprise J and its Romulan and Klingon equivalents, and the other for the 23rd Century Dreads, which includes the Atlas along with its KDF and Romulan equivalents, and the Atlas of course has the highly desired DPRM console. DPRM is short for Dynamic Power Redistributor Module. This is a console that's been very popular ever since its release, and it has only gained value over time with the console cooldown reduction playstyles we now have. And I do want to note that there have been some concerns that the DPRM console will be replaced with the DPRM 2 from the upcoming Atlas 2, but rest assured that if you grab this bundle to get the DPRM, you will be perfectly fine. Now for my recommendations, I'd grab both the 23rd and 26th Century packs, and it's up to you again if you want to go for the standalone ship, in this case the Marion, or one of the consumable options like the 2 Tier 6 coupons or the 2 epic tokens. Personally, I went for the Marion as that does have some value for niche exotic builds, but most of you likely won't care much for it. And to wrap things up, I know it may surprise some of you to see so few bundles recommended. It's simply a matter of new ships coming in over time and the meta evolving that causes older things to lose value. For Deca, this long delay between sales has likely cost some potential sales. Stealing Time, for instance, is a bundle that I highly recommended in the past, and it's still good, but with the Ark Royal being a thing, the value of that bundle has dropped. And there are still plenty of other bundles that I didn't cover here that are perfectly fine to go for, but the value of them is going to be a bit more niche, and that's why I didn't include them in this video. For instance, In Command is still a nice bundle to go for if you're into that command playstyle. The Voth Rampart's a really good ship, the Nimrod's still really good, but the value to the general player base isn't what it once was for those ships. If you'd like to get some additional recommendations, check out my tier list video from last year. That covers everything up through the end of 2024. And of course, if you want to see coverage for the bundles that have released so far this year, which honestly have been more theme focused than performance, then you can check out my breakdown videos for those, which I'll also have linked in the pinned comment down below. But that is going to be it for today. As always, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.